Welcome. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. This is episode 117. This is January 25th, 2020. Got a great show for you today. I just saw Donald just tweeted 24 minutes ago. Our case against lying, cheating, little Adam Shiftity Schiff, crying Chuck Schumer, nervous Nancy Pelosi, their leader, dumb as rock, AOC, and the entire radical left, do-nothing Democrat Party starts today at 10 a.m. on Fox News at OANN. I'm not quite sure what that is. Or fake news at CNN. Or fake news MSDNC. It's already got 20,000 likes. I love it. Rand Paul weighed in, one of my senators here in Kentucky. 36 hours of ad hominem attacks by Schiff et al. Can't erase the irony that the Democrats are doing exactly what they accused Donald Trump of doing, abusing government to go after their political rival. This is important coming from Rand Paul, because remember, Rand Paul is very concerned that we're giving the president too much power, that he could go wage wars without Congress's approval. Rand's constantly complaining that Congress doesn't have enough power. But look at this example. This is purely Nancy Pelosi abuse of power. Oh, unquestionably. Why hasn't this happened more often in our history? When the party opposing the president, when they control the House, they can just level articles of impeachment. All you need is over 50% of the votes, and you got articles of impeachment. Send it to the Senate. That's all you need. It's a very low standard, a very low bar. Well, fortunately, throughout our history, the politicians have not used this as a weapon against the other party and against the other president, because they know when they are out of power, that when the other party's in power, then that can be used against them. But, Katie barred the door now. The Democrats don't care about the future. They're going to just throw whatever they can because they're upset, they're angry, they're not getting their way. It's more of an emotional thing against Rand Paul, against Donald Trump. I had a really interesting debate texting yesterday with one of my good Democrat friends. And, he's been going off on this Les Parnas thing. Of course, the timing of this Les Parnas thing and complaining about Donald Trump and going against policy. And then my friend is all upset because Donald Trump says he didn't know Les Parnas, but now there's a recording of Donald talking to Les Parnas, which still doesn't mean that he knows him. This is unbelievable. And I told my friend, you don't have anything. There are no crimes here. This is not a high crimes and misdemeanors. You've got nothing on Donald. Well, he broke the law, he said. I'm like, what law did he break? Oh, Congress approved money for the Ukraine, and he was withholding those funds. That is against the law. And then I asked him about Joe Biden. Did he break the law when he was threatening to withhold funds from the Ukrainians because they weren't going to fire this prosecutor who was researching or looking into Burisma, in which Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, was on the board? You cannot make this stuff up. Oh, and there's more. John Kerry's son was on the board too. You cannot make this stuff up. And so no, he won't even answer that. He has not. I bet you anything, when I bump into him again, I'm going to ask him if he's ever seen the tape, the recording of Joe Biden bragging. He cannot keep his mouth shut, bragging, son of a bitch, that he was going to fire this prosecutor if they, in this $1 billion going to the Ukraine, they ain't going to get it. You could call the president. You ain't going to get it unless you fire this guy. Son of a bitch, that guy's fired. I bet you my friend has never even seen that. I hope we see this today with the defense of President Trump today. That starts just right about now. Those guys are always late. Oh, the viewership on these impeachment hearings is down. It's very boring. The Senate controls the cameras in the Senate chamber, so you don't have any cameras like panning around looking at all the senators who are asleep or drinking their milk. You don't see that. Yeah, it's interesting. Ted Cruz has got a podcast with Michael Knowles called The Verdict with Ted Cruz. It's great. Supposedly it's risen to like third in the world on podcasts. Ted Cruz does not think, he says the most likely thing is that I think Thursday they're going to vote on witnesses. He thinks the most likely there will not be 4 Republicans that support that with the Democrats. That's what they would need, 51 votes to block that. And so if no one wants witnesses, Ted Cruz says that's the most likely thing. If they do want witnesses, if there are no votes for that, then he is saying that the Democrats will probably get John Bolton, Republicans would get Hunter Biden, and then they would be able to proceed to vote. So this looks like nothing but an acquittal for President Trump. These are weak charges against the president. Abuse of power is something that Congress to accuse the president of abuse of power is really very, very weak indeed. That there's no really remedy for that, and for that to be a high crime and misdemeanor, well, we'll find out. We'll find out because the Senate will decide, and we will eventually have a vote, and we'll know either Donald Trump will get thrown out of office if there's 2/3 of the senators agree to that. There's no evidence of that. You can see where Rand Paul's going to vote. I mean, we have just had no new evidence. The Democrats, of course, are trying to draw this out. They used up almost all of their time, and they didn't have to use all their time, but they used almost all of their time, and so they're done with their opening arguments, and they want to go fishing, and they want to have all these witnesses, but they don't want the Republicans. Chuck Schumer says, no, you can't have Hunter Biden. It doesn't matter. He's not relevant to the case. Of course, most of the stuff that the Democrats were attacking in a real court of law, 2/3 of that stuff would not even be relevant to the case, and it would be thrown out. Steve Scalise tweets, remember, this is the same Schiff who lied about Russia collusion proof, made up a call transcript, mischaracterized evidence, lied about the whistleblower meetings, but he wants us to trust him in the Senate trial. Give me a break. Will the media ever hold him accountable? No, it's just the way it's going to go. The media don't expect. He who expects nothing is never disappointed, as my dad taught me. Yeah, don't expect the media to do this. Just on a side note, I was looking at Fox News, and I really wanted to start with the March of Life. And on Fox's little email that they send out daily, it's like not even on there. I know that was on Thursday, but wasn't even mentioned again. I think sometimes Fox even doesn't promote the pro-life movement, a conservative cause, or definitely Fox is not very pro-Second Amendment. And so, Fox News is fairly conservative on many things, and it's one of the most, of course, it's the most watched news organization, which is ironic because my Democrat friends, they never watch Fox News, but, I watch CNN. I want to know what the Democrats are up to. I want to know what kind of arguments they're making to see if they're reasonable or not. So it was wonderful. Donald Trump, our most pro-life president, spoke at the March of Life, the first president ever to do that. Juan Williams on the 5 was just saying, he was just doing it to be divisive. Wow. To pander to his base. I'm just like, it's just, you can't win with Juan Williams. But that's okay. That's okay. Juan Williams, it's good to try to listen to the other side as much as we can. So this March for Life, the turnout, and this was on Friday. This was yesterday. The turnout keeps getting greater and greater for this. This is wonderful. I think with the advent of ultrasound, I think we really do know that these are little babies inside there, that abortion is really killing a human life. It's awful. So I love it. And my friend yesterday was going after me on the morality issue and just makes me look like a complete idiot supporting Donald Trump, and basically calling me a liar and that Donald Trump is a liar. How can you support a president who's lying all the time? I'm like, well, dude, I mean, really, so really mocking me for supporting Donald. I just throw it right back in him. Oh yeah, Bill Clinton, yeah, right, great, yeah. I mean, I'm just like, what is he lying about? I mean, I really try to pin him down. But he's going to believe the CNN spin. I tell you, if that's all you watch, you're going to talk like him. You're going to, the walls have been caving in on Donald ever since. It's like we're exhausted with this. They thought they had him on the Michael Cohen thing. They thought they had him with the Mueller thing. They thought they had him on the tax things. They thought they had him on the Stormy Daniels thing. Earlier, before the election, they thought they had him on the Access Hollywood tapes. I mean, they just think they've always got our man, and they just keep trying to kick him out of office. Wow. No, you're a loser. You guys lost the election. We won. Yeah, it's so the March for Life was wonderful. I'm so glad that Donald spoke there. And I've told you before, yeah, my religious friends, when they get after me on Donald, like very few do. Some of my Latter-day Saint friends do. But I just say, well, he's the most pro-life president ever. I love that argument. So anyhow, this is the really fascinating thing about this impeachment with them going with this Ukraine call. From the very beginning, Joe Biden was going to get thrown under the bus on this because we cannot help but draw a light to Burisma, Hunter Biden, and all that corruption. This, we're going to have to talk about it. So when the Democrats decided to go with this Ukraine phone call, because I guess they had nothing else and they were just so trigger happy, desperate for something to go after Donald with. I mean, demanding, you got to impeach him, find something. And so they're basically, all their talking points are rehashing Mueller, but they really want to focus on this Ukraine phone call, which is just absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with Donald Trump talking to President Zelensky, nothing wrong at all. And for them to bring this up and to have articles of impeachment concerning this means that Joe Biden is going to be brought up. The corruption with his son, Hunter Biden. So we get to talk about that. And like I told you, my Democrat friend, probably has not even seen the video of Joe Biden admitting to trying to withhold funds for not firing the prosecutor who's investigating Burisma that his son was on. I love the new logo, Donald and his new Space Force. It's cool. Kind of looks a little Star Trek-y with the little triangle in the front. It's excellent. Oh, it's in deep blue. Very cool. And 2019 MMXIX is on there. It's very cool. United States Space Force, Department of the Air Force. Oh, I love it. The Space Force. Oh, Donald's making a big deal about that. So I heard on a podcast, mentioning that, like Donald Trump can't do anything. Like he can't do any policies to help him get reelected because that's corruption. Okay. So, of course, Hillary Clinton paid the Russians to have opposition research on Donald Trump. But if Donald Trump wants to investigate corruption, and it just happens to be Joe Biden with the Ukrainians, and Donald likes to wheel and deal, and we're giving money out to the Ukrainians, and there's even if that was true, we cannot even connect the dots on Donald withholding aid. And of course, the Ukrainians said that it never happened. They didn't even know about that. But Donald was making sure there was no corruption in the Ukrainian government. I mean, good. And so let's talk about corruption. Let's talk about the big scandals. And then this Joe Biden tape broke a few months earlier. So we were learning about all this corruption with the Bidens in the Ukraine. Perfectly appropriate. Let me give you an example of of this. Abraham Lincoln, did you know during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln had talked to some of his generals and let them get some time off so they could go back home and vote before absentee voting. And so they were allowed off to go back to Indiana and vote and come back. Okay, so was that helping Abraham Lincoln with the election? Well, duh. Yeah. I mean, these things happen all the time. What about Lyndon B. Johnson? He appointed Thurgood Marshall to sit on the Supreme Court. Okay, so Thurgood Marshall was the first African American in history to sit on the American court. Was Lyndon Johnson doing this to help his reelection bid? Was he doing this to help him get reelected? Well, yeah, duh. Okay, so this stuff happens all the time. So this argument about Donald Trump just, with this foreign policy, dealing with this foreign leader, and just trying to alter the election. I mean, this is just made up nonsense. And it's sad that we even have to listen to this. It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. I like how Rand Paul brought that up. Oh, it's great. Rudy Giuliani is saying that he's got more stuff. He said, I'm going to present over the next 2 to 3 weeks shocking crimes at the highest level of government, while the Senate is listening to a total phony group of stories about non-impeachable offenses. That's right. Abuse of power is not an impeachable offense. Abuse of power is just subjective. I don't think Donald's abusing his power. I want him to use his presidential powers. There's nothing that says in the Constitution that Donald can't deal with foreign leaders. As a matter of fact, he can. Remember the example I gave you that the Obama administration won over even controlling if Israel's on passports? Oh, the president has power to do that stuff, not Congress. This is a congressional abuse of power. So it's exciting to see what Rudy's going to reveal. I love it. Oh, the Democrats will just freak out about that. Meanwhile, close to home here, our neighboring state of Virginia continues to advance all of these gun control things. I mean, I guess all of the leftists up in the northern counties, cities of that state, of course, which borders Washington, D.C., I mean, these people are super far left. And the Democrats, they got all those people who live up there. And so the rest of the state's very conservative. But the big cities up there in northern part of Virginia run the show. And so they're going to push for a lot of gun control. Gun control doesn't work, does not decrease crime. But I tell you, the left loves to boss us around, loves to say what we can think and what we can say. And our guns, really, they hate it that we own guns. They hate that. That bothers them. And so they want to take them away. I hope we can really push back and do better with Virginia politics. I wanted to close. I was thinking and talking to a friend yesterday about marriage and talking about marriage. And I really love the thought that getting married gives you the opportunity, really the responsibility of just loving your spouse. Not expecting anything back in return, but loving your spouse. That is your job. You love her. I Googled that. My job is to love my wife. And I just got back, I love my job. And a bunch of little memes. I love my job. So I guess that didn't go over too well for my Google search. But I really love that thought. I think that's a really good thought, a very healthy thought. And that can apply to any relationships. And so as I'm striving to improve my relationships, thinking of just serving and loving others. And I really think about love. And when I feel love from others, it's really when they're serving me and they're being kind and they're doing things for me. And so those are the things that I want to do for others, or at least work on that. So anyhow, I hope you guys have a great day. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show, episode 117. Subscribe on iTunes. If you like the show, go ahead and rate the show. That would be great. Or go to philkoerper.com, my website, or you could watch on YouTube at the Philip Koerper Show. Have a great day. Bye-bye.